Namaskar, my name is Pawan Fande and I am the certified trainer of Twinmotion course. In this video, we are going to learn preparing 3D files in Motion is a very good program for visualization, but it's not for modeling. If you have a project that you want to visualize in Twinmotion, you will first need to model it in another 3D program like 3D Max, SketchUp, Cinema 4D, Archicad and Rhino or Revit. So before we import our 3D files into Twinmotion, we will need to prepare them first so that our workflow goes much easier in this lesson. I am going to cover the most important points that we need to take care of before we go to Twinmotion. I will be working with 3D as a max case. That's my preferred software for 3D modeling. But the concept of this preparation applies to the 3D software as well. Let's get started. So here is a finished villa design project that we did earlier. Modeling done in 3D as a max and materials was very material. Let's learn the concept of how to prepare this file. So concept number 1, apply materials placeholder in our project. We need to have materials applied to our objects in the scenes. It does not have to be prepared. It could only be just colored materials with no texture, but assigning a different material for each object will help greatly in Twinmotion, as all of this material will be replaced by Twinmotion materials. So for example, this stair has an material applied to it in Max different than that material of the steps or these objects or the grass area. So each object will have its own material. So when I am in Twinmotion, I will just replace it easily. The second concept of how to prepare the Max file is to have a correct UVW mapping for our object. That's how textures are applied to that object. So it be easier in Twinmotion to have a correct material scale and UVs. For example, this grass area has a new VW of box with correct dimensions. 3D concept use the Twinmotion library for common objects. Twinmotion has a very good library that we can utilize to our advantages. We don't need to add shrubs, trees, lampposts, people, cars or animals. All those are present in Twinmotion library, animated with good materials, and all one of the smart thing to do is to have areas of a different vegetation on a different object, so I can paint grass or shrubs on it later. Like this light color area I can easily fit up later inside Twinmotion with my desired shrubs. Most furniture as well, you will find a replacement to it in Twinmotion unless you need a special design furniture or objects. I like this shade that has a special design and dimension, so we will keep it and we will adjust its materials. Inside Twinmotion, same applies with these streets, parking shades, parking doors and so on. The fourth concepts, be aware of the starting ground. Twinmotion has a built-in starting ground that covers the entire scenes. This starting ground is at the 0 level, but if you have some stuff in your project below that 0 level, for example this swimming pool here, it will be covered by this ground. So in this case, we will have to delete this starting ground in Twinmotion and make our correct ground in Max. In our case study, I made this gray ground surrounding our projects and I made another far surrounding ground for the far surrounding concept number 5. The most and the more organized in your workflow, the easier thing will be in Twinmotion. If you are used to working with layers and grounds in your 3D software and everything is organized, that will help you greatly. Inside Twinmotion and its for V-Ray users, do not keep very proxy objects in the Max files. They will not be read into in Twinmotion. And don't worry, not everything has to be perfect in this stage. We can easily adjust stuff and re-import them easily in Twinmotion later. And now our file is ready to be exported to Twinmotion. Twinmotion doesn't read max files, so we will have to export our max file to FBX format. Go Files, Export and press Export. Choose FBX. From here, choose where to save it. Give it a name and press Save Default Setting and press OK. Give it a minute to export, and you might get some warnings and errors that some V-Ray materials or lighting are not compatible with FBX and doesn't get exported. Just press OK. And now our file is exported at the saved location as FBX. We will now close the Max and we will learn how to import that FBX files into Twinmotion and start our Twinmotion project in the next video.